this is a political move, and I think that EFF is probably going to be totally nervous, because this could actually put Floyd and Duduzile to head the Jacob Zuma's party. I think that is the modus operandi of Floyd Shivambu. Unfortunately for him, there is a lot of issues and legal matters that are still pending in his that's going to affect him personally, and this is past legal matters.
Courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to move forward even in the midst or the face of fear. Courage is the ability to take that one more step even when you are shaking. Ladies and gentlemen, many people don't know how close they were to their breakthrough or success when they gave up. Courage is actually giving yourself a chance even when everyone has written you off. Courage, it is taking that one more step and take that bold decision to say you want to move forward despite the odds that are against you. Courage is actually going to that office to inquire. It's making that call for your own future and that which you want. It's taking that step to start your business or to start that project that you've always wanted to do. Courage, it's making that application that you've always wanted to put in. Ladies and gentlemen, it's such a great honor for me to be in conversation with one of my favorite people. One thing I like about this podcast, I get to meet and spend time with my favorite people all across the world and South Africa. And today I'm joined by a world-class numerologist. She has been doing this, I don't know, close to 3 decades now, predicting accurately and advising people on how they can shape their lives. Sandy Numerology is on the show. Sandy, good to see you.
Gosh, Sir Max, I have traveled a road with you. I've been through the avenues of different radio stations with you and everything, and it's always a pleasure because you have such a gift of words. And I think that with your podcast, I think what's going to be important is just your intro to this show. I'm going to go back and play it over and over and over because the words are so powerful. And it's interesting how we all go through dips and dives. And when you're in the dip, you just don't see that light. And you've got to keep taking that step forward, which is exactly what you said, because you're so close to that breakthrough that if you don't get given the challenge of, if it was easy, where's your energy? When it's hard, and when you see that breakthrough, I mean, there's suddenly a light is kind of there inside, let alone on the outside. So your words for me, you've got the 8 life path, which is always about the motivational speaker, the coach.
Wow.
It likes to be challenged and it likes to challenge. And 8 is the communication number, and that's how you are driven.
I can listen to you talking the whole day, Sandy. Thank you very much. And indeed, I mean, we've done countless shows together on radio. Mm-hmm. And now that you are saying this, the first episode of this podcast, first ever, went live on YouTube on the 8th of April.
Okay. So that's
this year.
Okay.
8th of April. I didn't, now that you are saying it, that my life path is 8. The first episode was released on the 8th of April.
And now we're sitting on the 8th of May. Today's the
8th.
The 8th of May.
Wow.
But what is interesting, the 8th of April, you are born in April.
Yes.
So
yes.
You, in my numeric system, just in your date of birth, the 27th of April, 1984, you have quadruple 4s. So, and 4 is always how you lay a foundation, how you find your place to what you want to build, where you want to build, what you want to build, and you've got to have that foundation so that you can build. So, and it's interesting that you are sitting in a 4 personal year. So a 4 means, those bricks on the wall, but it means to pull back. It means I need to cut back. I need to clean out, clear out, and chuck out so that I can get back to my foundation where I am at the moment. Your parents built you, which is a house, and you're going into a process now of renovating that house that mom and dad built and society built when you were growing up. And you're going to start all the different rooms in you, all the different aspects and characteristics of you. You're going to renovate this. So where your parents built a particular room, you're going to change the windows into doors and the doors into windows. And you're going to break walls down and open this room into that room. So you're in that time to completely restructure.
Wow.
But you've got the framework.
The framework is ready. And the place where we are right now is actually 80. You were talking about it.
Number 80.
The street where we are, it goes back to number 8. Looks like number 8 is following me.
It will always
everywhere I
follow.
go. Yeah.
It will always follow you. It's a very aggressive number.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I look at your physical build, that's a number 8. I look at your height or your neck, that's a 4. That's structure. That's your build. So your numbers, when I even look at a person's body, I can actually see what their numbers are. And so 8, you'll find even your house numbers are either a 2, a 7, a 4, or an 8.
You're 100%. I always find myself house number 4,
It's very good for you.
8 comes in, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, well, congratulations on your YouTube and your podcast.
Thank you.
And I'm going to drive it through my other avenues.
Please.
I will definitely.
We'll highly appreciate that, Sandy. To people who are watching this episode for the first time, they have heard maybe of numerology, or they've not heard of it. Mm-hmm. How would you want people to understand numerology? You've been doing this work for over 3 decades now. Mm-hmm. What is numerology? How have you come to understand it?
Okay. So first of all, when we go through a stage in our life where we feel a bit lost because we fulfilling the road that has been established for us versus us owning our own road, that I needed to find me. I was in the music industry. I was managing Miriam Makeba and Letta Mbulu and Kaifas Semenya at the time. But I felt that something was coming and I didn't know where I was going to go. A lot of people are able to plan their lives years in advance. I'm kind of like can get to a robot where I should turn left and I actually turn right and I'll still get to my destination. But so I had to go on a search and I found a lot of the Asian alternate kind of spiritual avenues. The numerology is something that stuck out. But I found how disappointed I was because it generalized. And I call it pop numerology, what you can get on all of the websites out there.
Yes.
Because they're so busy. One person will take information from another person, get into the numerology, but they don't actually get into the person. They're so busy telling the person, but they don't get to understand the person and give them their numbers in the positive sense, because they like to find your weakness and then get you to hang on to that. Where my whole thing is, I've got an 8 in my birthday. I'm born on the 18th. I'm like you, Sir Max. I want people to know what a weakness is for an opportunity to turn it around, because my weakness was, funny enough, language and numbers.
Okay.
And so in getting, I took this very simple base of numerology, and it all happened because my mother gave me a family tree book, and I started writing people's birth dates out, and I started to see patterns. And I've got about 5 6s, so I'm obsessive compulsive. And I got into all of this, and then I would get biographical books on people, get their names and their dates of birth, and go through the events in their life. And I started working on building the story. And I had no idea that this was going to be a business. I was trying to understand other people to find out about myself and my numbers. And I kind of developed the system, and I was like I'd tell friends, or friends of friends would be there and say, this is my birth date. And I would tell them about themselves. And then one day, this one friend of mine, Iris, said, you're giving off so much energy. You should be charging for this. I hadn't even thought about that. Suddenly there was now a challenge of how do I do that,
How do I professionalize it?
And, it rolled. I was in the darkest 2 years of my life internally and financially. Although I was still working, I was really struggling to get from month to month, because when you independent in the music industry, which is the same as I am now with the numerology, is you never know what you're going to earn until you've earned it.
100%.
And I started it, and then this woman came to me for a session, and the following week she said to me, would you go live on a TV show, on a sports show? I don't know how to say no, and I said yes.
Yes.
And I've got to get my memory as to what his name was. He was one of the rugby players from 1995 when we won the World Cup. And it was a cricket game. I don't know how cricket is played. I can watch it. And it was a Wednesday, and the game was with England on the Saturday or the Sunday. I think it was the Sunday. And I predicted exactly who would be in the team, who would be on the field, who would be benched. And I actually predicted how badly they would play. I said their feet are like in cement. And actually even one of the announcers used my words that by the Sunday late afternoon, I got a phone call from a friend and said, I've actually recorded the game. You've got to watch, and you've got to watch what you said. He said, your prediction was as if you had seen the match already. And just from that show, things started to expand.
Yeah.
And all it was that I didn't know how to say no, and I took a chance. And suddenly the wheels started turning, and I started getting invited onto radio and other TV shows and magazines and newspapers. And then I was afforded a TV show, my own series on SABC TV3, a 13-part series. And I mean, the floodgates, I think there was over an estimated 3 million people that got hold of me through that show, and of course the rerun. So, I mean, it was so interesting how I had developed a formula, but I developed a rhythm of words to align to a number. That when you give me your full-born names and your date of birth, but it's got to be what is registered.
Yeah.
I don't want what you've changed. Like if you are a Max, but is your full name Maxwell? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I've got to have the full, because every letter has a numeric value. And every letter in your name defines a 3.5-year period in your life. And it will absolutely map out what is going to happen to you. And then you take your date of birth. You've got your day, your month, your year, and you keep adding that to a number between 1 and 9, which will be your life path, which comes by every 9 years. But in your day, like you born on the 27th, you've got a 2 and you've got a 7.
Yeah.
But that also adds to a 9.
Yes.
Then you've got your 4, which is your month.
Yes.
And your 9 and 4 adds to a 13 that gives you another 4. So there already we've got a lot of numbers to play with. And when you look at each of your names, you have one number for each name. Then you add all of those, you'll get a number for your full-born names. And then you've got Max and your surname, which is what you use daily.
Yes.
And then you, like a Freddie Mercury, you've got Sir Max, which is your stage name.
Yes.
So we look at what that is. But I then can look at where are you each year, specifically each year, and I can pinpoint the months, the weeks, and the days. But under your name, it will give me that 3.5-year period. So if I look under your name, where are you under your which letter are you? And then I look at your age and what personal year you are in, and I can see if the year that you are in, that you've got a lot of that number, which means impact. Now you are in a 4 personal year in your home, personal environment, but you've got another 4 4s, so you've got 5 4s. So you are actually in detriment if you are not going to do what you need to do in a step-by-step manner, because you need to be crossing your T's, dotting your I's, doing your paperwork. So I will give you that information and give you what is coming up over the next 2 years to say, right, this is your dig deep. This is a critical year for you. And if you're going to do this, your next year is going to shift. As much as there's going to be some difficulties, it's going to be easier because you're going to go, oh, the tax man wants paperwork from me. Sandy told me to do my paperwork and I've got it. And then the following year, things start to wake up. But now looking at your age is when you leave that front door, or let's say you work from home, that you leave the home space and you go to that office space. Your age is about your career, your public, when you're going out to people, or people are coming to you, but they're not coming to live in your space. They're coming, you're going to shop, you're going to work, you're going to connect, you're going off to the airport, etc. That's all in the public space. That's what your age is. So it'll drive what is happening in your career. So every person has a specific story, and that was what I devised outside of pop numerology into Sandy's numerology, to identify that even if somebody is born on the same day as you, they are not the same, because twins will numerically be born at a different time. They're not born at the same time, but they'll have different names. That will tell you the difference of what will happen in their lives.
Okay, now, this is very interesting. So it means your name matters.
Oof, big time. So when women change their surnames, it is better that they have that number of their husband's what the name adds to, because then they're not having to try to be somebody that they're not. They could maybe double barrel, because double barreling might give them the number that they already have. But changing your name, like a lot of people will change their name in the course of their life, and they will only have confusion. They will still find they've got to work even harder to try to be somebody that they're not. And they've already been trying to learn who they are. Now they want to change and put different tires, square tires on around axis.
So let's make an example. A woman who gets married and then she changes the name or the surname. Numerically, it affects how her life turns out.
It will impact it in the sense of they're going to have to, because they're going to be called, instead of calling me Sandy Smith, you're going to be calling me Sandy Jones. And there's an adaptation, there's a pride that I'm married and whatnot. But eventually you having to bring in an energy of the man, but it's not you. It's not who you are. You can't try to be...
So the energy of those numbers that we get from the change of the name will go into have an impact in your life.
Absolutely.
All right. Say you have a child, you name them. Can you manipulate the naming to align that child to say, we know that, I mean, in African traditions, and even throughout the world, other traditions, you want to give your child a name that speaks the name that is prophetic, the name that is, so not just numerically, but even the meaning of the name. But numerically, can you manipulate the name of the child to align with certain numbers?
Absolutely. I do a lot of that. Now, it's interesting that the date of birth, that die is cast. So I always say to clients, give me a list of names and I will work with them. But on the day of the birth, because you could plan a Caesar, but the baby could decide to come the day before. It might still end up being a Caesar, but the day the die is cast.
Yes.
So what I try and do is that I look at the names and I want to avoid the numbers that they have on their from their date of birth. I want to give them other energies to make them more of a rounded person. So you've got like a name like Alexandra. I can go to an ALEX or I can go to ALES. Alessandro. So I can shift and change things. But I could also say when a parent says, I say, don't use that as the first name. Or register it as a second name and use the second name as the calling name. But when you look at the letters, what I'm looking to avoid is particular illnesses. Like cancer in a young child or death in somebody's chart, or I'm looking for negatives that I want to shift because you don't want those negatives to be happening to a young child. So you can adjust versus manipulate. You can adjust the spelling and you can adjust the positioning. And then I might go, instead of only using the dad's surname, let's bring in the mom's surname as well. We can double barrel it, or we can just use it so that when the child evolves as a human being, they might want to go under their mom's surname.
Okay.
But it's there. The die is there. Okay.
I've spoken to you many times, but we never come to this level of intensity.
And you know why? Because when we're doing it on radio, we are time constrained.
Exactly.
And I'm already sitting on my edge of my chair when the show starts.
Yeah. All right. So in many traditions of the world, numbers play an important role. You read the Bible, there are numbers, the Quran numbers. In fact, every tradition, every cultural heritage, there are numbers on it. The last message that I want you to comment on, numbers are speaking. Right?
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
So, okay, before you come in, sorry, Sandy, you go, your house number, you buy a house or you rent an apartment, there's a number there. You book a hotel room, there's a number
100%.
there. You take a flight, there's like the obsession of the number.
Your seat number, the flight number.
Yeah.
You can even go into, is it a Boeing and what is the engine number of the Boeing? You're going to be attracting that. But
they speak, they have the meaning.
Absolutely.
It's not just a coincidence.
Not at all.
That you happen to be in that number.
Absolutely. It's the same as when, it's very interesting that when you are getting into a relationship or your friendships, the energy of what you know is your parental figures. So it might be your gran and your grandpa that brought you up. You're going to attract those numbers in the people that you're going to attract in your life. And this is when you're going to learn where there is the child and the adult picture versus the person-to-person relationship, which is on a par of whether that relationship with your parent ever actually worked for you. Because we've got a lot of lessons that a parent has. A parent will always have, if there's two children, one of them is going to be their nemesis. And a child, for me, is always the teacher. It has no baggage.
Yeah.
And the error is the parents' baggage is now being pushed down, and parents need to spend a lot more time listening to their children.
Wow. So our lives are guided by numbers everywhere we go.
Everywhere.
The date you decide to get married.
Absolutely. And especially now, there's two people involved.
Yeah.
So there's two people buying a house. We always look at the stand number of the house or the plot number, or here in South Africa, we also call it the earth number. And then we look at the house number, or is it a unit in a apartment block, which has a number, but it also has a street address. All of those numbers are going to be yours.
What do you say to somebody who says, "Hi, Sandy, but now this is an obsession. Now it becomes, I'm not going to enjoy my life because now I always have to be worried about the numbers, all these numbers."
Don't be worried. Rather say, I keep seeing the same number. What does the number mean? Because then it will help you going, this number is so good for me. And I love the energy of this number.
Yeah.
And you can actually make that number work for you if you understand the meaning of it.
There's what is called angel numbers, where 1111, you look at the clock, you see 1111, you see 1818.
Okay.
Well, what are your thoughts on that? Popular on the internet.
Listen, it's probably one of the most dominant questions that people ask. And I say to them, number one, the universe is trying to attract your attention. It's getting you to look. You see 1111, stop. It wants to stop you from what you're doing. It says you're existing, you're not actually living, you're doing the steps that are required, but you're not in the steps. Then we can get to the meaning of the numbers 1111. But first of all, it's stopping you. It's like when you're making tea and the kettle goes off, it stops you.
Your attention.
Right. Now you're going to do the next step. And that's really what that clock is doing, is saying you need to pay attention.
So our years begin on your birthday.
Correct.
So that's how we should interpret the time. Like in the calendar is 2025.
For the global.
For the globe. But
Yes.
my year started
On
a few days back on the 27th of April.
Correct.
So that's how.
That's when you make your New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Because making them in January, unless you're born on the 1st of January, don't make them. Make it on your birthday. If you know what your year numbers are, then take the meaning of those numbers, say, that is my focus for the year. Let that be your resolution.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that beautiful preface of the show. People are worried, Sandy. I talk to a lot of people in South Africa. The environment is hostile. There was a tax proposal. It was withdrawn. The economy is not growing. Let's kindly look at South Africa. Where are we as a country, and what are the numbers saying about our country?
Okay, so let's first clear up. Sir Max is actually born on our voting day on the 27th of April, which we did in 1994. That is not our birth date. I know a lot of people...
So 27 April 1994 is not South Africa's birthday?
Not at all. That was a major date and a major event. And then in the event of the calendar of the Republic of South Africa, you can see that we were in a 4 going into a 5 of restructuring and change and political change and a whole transformation, which South Africa is born on the 31st of May. And that May is the number 5.
31st of May.
1961.
Why is that it has not changed?
Because if we had become the Democratic Republic of South Africa on the 27th of April, done and dusted, then I would say that is our birthday. But we became the Republic of South Africa on the 31st of May, 1961. We have not changed our name, our independence, our republic. As I said, if the government said we'll now become the Democratic Republic, which is what they should have done. But I'm glad they didn't.
But that's only the change of the name. So that's
when you change a name and you register it, it becomes official. It becomes official.
So we've maintained the name.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the same for companies or countries or political parties. Once it's the ANC was founded, but it was only registered in 1990.
1990.
Because they couldn't get into the voting fray without being a registered official party. So they were registered on the 3rd. It's either the 3rd of February or the 2nd of March. I think it's the 3rd of February 1990 that the ANC became official, legitimate.
Okay. So South Africa, let's go back there. Where are we?
Okay, so what is interesting is with all of the antics of the foreign world, South Africa, our birthday's coming up this month. So currently, we have an 8 life path like you do, Sir Max. Mm-hmm. We're in our life path. And this year, since May of 2024, we went into our life path. And this is all about health, violence, aggression, communication, balance, all or nothing. 8 is like the 2 wheels in a bicycle, that if they are looked after and functioning, we can create the movement. But if we get a puncture along the way, or a spoke gets broken or whatever, so the 8, we had to dig a lot deeper in the ground of South Africa, but our age added to a 9. So what is interesting is 9 is you are always hit your life path cycle whenever your age adds to a 9. And South Africa's age last year was 63. And a 9 means I'm watching, I'm listening, I'm observing, I'm absorbing, I'm imparting knowledge and wisdom that I've gained. And I'm bringing in that I have an understanding of. And it's interesting because our 31st of May adds to a 9. So our 9, we are always watching everybody else. And we're watching and we're learning and we're listening, but we are applying, where a lot of other countries are not applying. Now, the energy of our birthday coming up at the end of May now, we are moving into a 9 personal year, which is inside the country, and a 1, we're going to be 64, praise the Lord. So in a public sense, there is money, and more money out there that we're going out to get and what is coming in. And people say, now we look at Trump and the tariffs. The only good thing that Trump has done, he's made every country wake up and say, we know how much money from America goes to countries and it sits at the top with the government, where there's maybe a trickle down to the ground level. But it's saying to people, we're not going to, we don't want to use you anymore. America sold its middle class to China. It sold its middle class. Then, of course, America's the credit card and China is the bank. If China decides to offload those bonds, and if Canada offloads the bonds, America is history. But what we've got to understand is that there's so much we need out there, but we have a lot to negotiate with. What I can say about like China, they come in for what they need, but they've been active on the ground.
Yeah.
They have been productive on the ground. So America's not been productive on our ground. They haven't.
Yeah.
So for South Africa, we're going into the most amazing year. If we were born on the 27th of April, we would be in the... Listen, we handled COVID as a country. We're probably one of the top 3 countries in the world that handled COVID as well as we did. And praise the Lord that we're at such a distance from the rest of the countries from a travel perspective.
Yeah.
But
if we were born on the
27th of April 1994, we would be in a 4 personal year, and then we'd have another 4 4s. This would mean about 1,000 times worse than what we experienced in the course of COVID. And I'm going, 27th of April, the energy would have started 2 months where this is just, the doors are locked. We can't get out. Nobody can get in. Business are shutting down. Schools are shutting down. People, there's no jobs. It is, and I'm sorry, when you came to work this morning, how many cars were on the road? That is the wheels turning. We are in such a fabulous year. Going forward, the investment that's coming into South Africa is going to be absolutely incredible. Now, the best thing about
the economy will be growing.
It's yes, without a doubt, because the one thing about South Africans, let's just sort of backpedaled into apartheid where we couldn't and nobody wanted. But I know for an absolute fact that I was filming a video of the singer Zane Adams in Cape Town, in the Cape Town Harbour in 1988. And we were persona non grata, and we were filming his music video around midnight in the harbour. And we actually filmed 4 ships, Moon, Sun, Stars, and something else. Sun, moon, stars, whatever. They were loading unmarked fruit boxes from Ceres, unmarked, onto ships that when they got out of South African waters, they would change their name and they would mark the boxes of the fruit coming from a different country. We were still in business. So if we feel that Trump is now not supporting the HIV program, Germany has stepped in. They're putting in billions into that project. There's always another door. So I think it's a good thing because it also shakes up our complacency of expecting.
A lot of people are concerned with regard to South Africa, the GNU. If it's
our new child
working,
it is. First of all, apartheid was a registered negative, where other countries, like in America, even Trevor Noah has said that in South Africa, you knew where you could go or where you couldn't go. In America, you want to buy a place in Mar-a-Lago. You don't know. They don't want you to buy because you are black. They will say, well, that property has now been sold, or, you can't get a bond or whatever it is. You don't know where you stand. So the thing is that with what is the growth and the shift, getting back to the question was on the GNU. What other country has ever had a collective stand together in its baby steps? Okay, it's not even crawling properly. It's a whole group of babies trying to help one another, and we need them to get out of their political, vocal, verbal vocab rhetoric into the unifying rhetoric, into the unifying words. But what I like is we still have the stirring of particular people, like a Helen who will stir the pot, or Malema will want to stir the pot, even that he's sitting on the outside, because we want to hold people to book and to question. So that our GNU is going to work. It's very important.
The numbers are saying it's going to work.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Before we get into some key figures that I want us to look at, the lady who's responsible for our digital and media here on the channel, her name is Mpho Motswani. MOTSOANE. Yeah.
Okay.
She is born on the 15th of January, 1991. She has requested she was nervous, but she has requested a special reading for her. She's responsible for our digital, and media.
Okay. So interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. Okay. So her name and pause are number 7. Her day and month add to a 7. And she is currently in a 7 personal year, and her age currently adds to a 7. So this is an emphasis on 7. What does a 7 mean? It means music, art, theatre, public fame, worlds, Fame Industries, she can't sit still. She's up and down, and she's running around, and she could never take a desk job. It would never work for her. She's born in the 7 year that she's in personally. There's a big shift happening in her personal life. Her turning point is going to be the 15th of July. That's the middle of her year. And this is all about the move and the direction that she's going in must be from inside first. That we now can create the external move, or we can drive the direction that we want our life to go in. Sometimes this can be when you say, I want to go and live on an island. I want to run away. You're still going to take whatever nonsense you're carrying with you.
Yeah.
So she's such a spontaneous energy. She has to actually make sure that she's on her road, aiming to get onto her highway, that she is driving this physical body vehicle, that she's not on somebody else's road and highway. Bar the fact that she is very prone to making sure of everybody else's needs before hers.
Okay.
So compromise is her enemy. But she's born on the 15th, and she's born in January, so she's driven by ones as well, which says, I'm a leader, not a follower. Her 5 is marketing, sales, management, good at training, good at negotiating. And she's got her academia in there. That adds to 6, which brings in technology, her ideas and her imagination. Owning her own business is 100%. And then Paul Motswane adds to a 1, which means that she must use her name in her company name, because that's where her money sits. And Motswane means flexible motion, movement, colors, textures, smile, engage with people.
Wow.
So career-wise, her age is a 7, which says her money is on the improve, but her weakness is discussing money. She's got to get people to value her, because she doesn't quite value herself enough. That she needs to speak money first and get that out the way. Okay. She is going to over-deliver anyway.
Wow, amazing. Mpho, I'm sure you are smiling. You must be excited about your reading. Yeah, you are just nervous, but I think some good news coming through if you work with what Sandy say. Would you want to look at some of the key figures in South Africa? Shocking, I didn't know that the team is saying there are news that says Floyd Shivambu. I mean, he shocked a lot of people when he left EFF and then he went to MK Party. And yeah, some you want to look at. And I didn't know that they announced that they'll be men. I still don't believe it, to be honest, because with Zuma, weeks back, they were fighting. Dudu Zile was insulting him. And so I haven't seen the news, I must say. But if it's true, what are the numbers saying?
So it's interesting because Dudu Zile and Dudu Zani, they are twins, are born in the month of May. And Floyd Shivambu is born in January. I don't know if it's the 1st of Jan or the 10th of Jan, but it's one of those. Yeah. And he has a 5 life path. So straight away, these two are they're political animals. They're also academic. They're good with language. They are good at arguing. They have got memories like elephant. They will keep things in a pot on the stove, and when they want to stir things up, they'll go up to that pot and stir things up. The argumentative thing and the arrogant thing that's in them is huge. And there is no winner here. Okay. Nobody's going to win here. I think that this is a political move. And I think that, EFF is probably going to be, totally nervous, because this could actually put Floyd and Dudu Zile to head the, Jacob Zuma's party. I think that is the modus operandi of Floyd Shivambu. Unfortunately for him, there is a lot of issues and legal matters that are still pending in his that's going to affect him personally, and this is past legal matters. Duduzile, she is in a 6th personal year at the moment. I'm not even sure of her age because I can't recall what year she was born. But for me, she's pregnant. She's had a child. I'm not sure. I haven't kept up to date on any of her personal stuff. But there's definitely a child here. And I think there is this connection. Things are happening around the family thing, but there is something traumatic coming that's going to affect Duduzile, Duduzana, and Jacob Zuma, and that energy starts now in May. It started in April because Zuma's born on the 12th of April. He's in a 7 personal, the twins are in a 7 personal, so there's a big shift and move that's coming, but there is definitely something tragic around them as well.
Duduzile was born the 19th of May.
Yes, 19?
Yeah, 19th of May.
What year?
1982.
82?
Yeah.
Okay. So she's got a 9 life path. So she's in a 7. She's completely directionless. She's doing a lot more to please other people. But we can't underestimate her. She has... she's caused a lot of trouble. There's no doubt about that, and she will never not cause a trouble. And of course, Floyd Shivambu is exactly the same. So
Floyd was born 1 January 1983.
1983. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he is the 5 life path. I was right. Okay. So the interesting thing is that these two. There has been a connection, but the connection is only January to 20th of May. Then they're out of sync. So this relationship is not going to work. But this could be a massive career decision, which I think is about the political party. And the political party was registered on the 20th.
Which one?
Zuma's party.
The MK party.
The MK party is registered on, I think it's the 22nd or the 20th of the 2nd. I know there's a 22-4 there.
Is it September 7th, 2023?
September 7th.
Yeah, 7 September 2023. I'm not sure. This is what I'm seeing.
No,
I'm seeing here.
No, it isn't.
It's not the one.
Zuma. Gosh, why don't I have the?
And then launched 16 December. Okay,
no, there's an official registration date that I have. And I know that I probably do have it here somewhere, but I just need to see. So Jacob Zuma, 12th of the 4th, 1942. Yeah, there's Duduzile. Okay, here we go. Mkonte Wesizwe was, yeah. Okay, so they were born on the 10th of December, 2023, and the 10th of December adds to a 22, which adds to a 4. Now, they are currently in a 3 personal year, which is a very good year for them. Out there in the public space, not good for them. There is a death coming, and I'm presuming that will be Jacob Zuma's passing, which is coming, that starts 12, 11, 10, probably October.
Which year?
It starts
into
2025 into 2026. I'm going to push it into the February of 2027. Yeah, I mean, Jacob Zuma's in medical year, he's in accident year, he's in legal year. So his legal things are escalating now. So there's some detriment here because there is going to be a massive restructuring of Umkhonto which is going to start around the 10th of June. So May, June, July, there's going to be soft restructuring inside Umkhonto, and then there's going to be a massive restructuring that starts October of this year through to February of 2027. And this could be the demise or the end of situations, people, and it could also bring a huge problem into the party because there's going to be a lot of legal matters that are going to be thrown at the party, and that the party is going to be also going outwardly into, that's going to have cause and effect that's actually not going to be positive for them. When we look at the ANC, they were official on the 3rd of the 2nd, 1990. They are in a 5 personal year, so there is an immense amount of difficulties in power games.
What is 5? Is it in a 5 personal year?
They're in a 5, so it's internal inside of the party, but they've got double 5s. Their day and month add to a 5, and they're in a 5. So this is a huge political games going on inside of the ANC. The word politicking, power games, fraud, financial mismanagement, discovery and disclosure. So we're going to hear and find out about things. The ANC is going into its life path year in 2026. Which is also not good because it's complete lack of focus. So they're wanting to do some major management changes. Now, we did hear about Paul Mashatile with this potential death threat that came his way. He's in detriment. He's in detriment health-wise. He's in detriment life-wise. He's in detriment position-wise. His wish would be to be the next president of the ANC. But there's he carries quite a load of implications.
So he's not in a good personal year.
Not for the next 2.5 years. It's not good for him at all. But then we can look at...
Can we look at the EFF?
Yes, the EFF... Let's just, I do have that here. I did see it here just now. Let me see. IEC, ANC, Conte, where sees where?
The wisdom of the numbers. Numbers are speaking.
Yeah, just... There's so many of
if we have
here.
To listen.
EFF, Julius Malema. Okay, EFF was born on the 26th of July, 2013. So they are in a 5 personal year. So we look at the politicking, power games, management changes that have been happening since before July. Probably we could take it back to May of 2024. Which, and the disclosure and the discovery of Floyd leaving, and lots of changes, and they've also had a few Malema's kicked a lot of people to the curb, so there's been a lot of changes, and there's been financial mismanagement that is still existing inside of the EFF. And age-wise, it's in an 11, which means that it's very unsettled about who to marry with, who to partner with. So it's unsettled within itself. Now it's going into a 6 personal year, but it's got too many 6s as it is. And it's almost saying to me that it's got a disease. It's got it's not focused. It's like Eskom. The lights are on and then the lights are off. Things are not connecting inside there. There's a lot of reaction and lack of responsibility. And unfortunately, Julius is born on the 3rd of the 3rd, which adds to 6s. EFF is born on the 26th of the 7th, which eventually also add to 6s. So they're both in detriment. He's in detriment health-wise, and the health of the EFF is also in detriment. And that will be all the way through to 2026. 2027, not good for Julius either, and it also is not a good year for the EFF. So I think the EFF, in their date of birth, their day and month add to a 33, said that they would be a trendsetter. And they definitely were a trendsetter, but they've lost their focus.
Okay. I'm told we have 3 minutes to go. Can we quickly look at DA?
The DA?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, okay.
And see how they're doing. They've been a major player on the GNU, so
Yes.
let's see where the numbers are actually sending them.
So it's interesting. The DA is born on the 24th of June, 2000. They are in an 11 personal year. So inside of the DA, there's been some... it's like the partnership within the DA is very unsettled, but it's finding its feet now. Okay. Its day added to a 6, its month adds to a 6, and currently its age adds to a 6. So it's been reactionary. And we can marry that with how they've been reacting to the way the ANC has not got rid of that I'm the major political party. It needs to form alignment and friendships. And one is not actually seeing that they are doing that. Let's see where they are. Yeah. So interesting that the DA moves into a 3 personal. So big changes there. There's going to be some shift and changes. And the DA is driven by feminine energy. Even some of our African people that have been involved with male been involved with the DNA are all driven by 3s, all feminine energy, although masculine in body.
Yeah.
So they're going into a 3 personal year, which they need to be more engaging, but there's going to be some abusive things that are going to be shining a light, but they are taking a complete new and fresh direction out into the public space. That's already starting on the 24th of May of this month. You'll see, it's actually started in April, on the 24th of April. They're shifting the energy of their direction out there in the public space, but they are going to be dominant in the public space, which is actually very, very good.
Thank you very much. You are the friend of the show. You know that anytime, definitely, this is not the first and it's not the last.
Okay.
So we'll be tracking what is happening in the country and globally. And as and when we're going to the elections, major events, the economy, definitely we are going to need some more wisdom.
100%.
Thank you very much for coming to the show.
Thanks, Max.
You're looking amazing and strong and healthy.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's how we come to the end of today's episode. Please go and hit the subscribe button. That's the only way we can ensure that we bring you high-level, insightful, inspirational conversations here on the channel. My name is Semex. Kamako.